I have found that the best opportunities, both on an investment and personal level, have come during turbulent times. When the market's rosy and things are easy, which is never always going to be the case, people get very complacent. But when times are tough and you're faced with adversity, it forces you to be more resourceful, be more efficient, and put yourself out there to a point where you get to the next milestone. If you live in a situation where you're just comfortable and you're not forcing yourself to greatness, you'll never get to the next level and push yourself to next milestones, which might be fine, but you're not going to get to be a leader in your field or ultra successful without constantly pushing towards the next level. And if you are in a situation where things are easy and you're an inspiring entrepreneur, you will get very bored. I'm Meg Epstein, and I'm the CEO and founder of a real estate development company. We have round-tripped from start to finish 10 institutional real estate projects, and we have returned over 2.5 equity multiple to our investors. So I have had 2 points of serious adversity in my career, the last one being in 2022 when the capital markets changed and inflation was getting out of control and interest rates started rising. Essentially, my entire business model of building industrial and apartment buildings froze. Basically, building buildings just doesn't work anymore. It's too expensive, and all of equity investment pretty much stopped on an institutional basis. So I spent those years doing a lot of research. My team rolled up their sleeves. We looked at every different real estate sector that we had any understanding of. We looked at manufactured housing to help solve the affordability crisis. We looked at tiny home communities because we've done, hospitality play on real estate. We looked at RV and boat storage and owning marinas and just underturning any sort of opportunity that we could. And what we realized in doing all of that was that where we had started in real estate was actually the best place to end up. And we had started in condo projects, and it's one of the only things that actually works in this market. And so I found that I got very distracted because during, 2016 to about 2021, the market was so red hot on fire. Institutional capital was throwing capital at me, and in Nashville, just tons of investment was always being made. And at those times, it's really easy to make investment mistakes, and people ended up overbuilding multifamily real estate, and it's horribly oversupplied because everybody was going into this sector. And it really it can make you lazy in terms of, your investment approach if the market is just so red hot and fire for so long. And it ended up really biting people. I had a niche approach, and I had been through enough hard times to know that waterfall of money coming in was not going to last forever and that it would dry up. And so we did a lot of research, and we focused on, the asset class that still works in this market, which is condos that you can short-term rent out. And it's sort of funny because it took going through a really, really tough time to get ultra focused on our most successful asset class, because we finally had the time to just, get off the hamster wheel and stop working on so many projects and really do a lot of analysis and see where do we make the most capital, what offering works in this market. And it basically got us to a point where we went back to where we started and what was the most successful. And now we've really leaned into that and gotten focused. But if the market was super hot and there was so much, industrial and apartment development still happening, I probably would have remained distracted for a really long time. So I think that anybody can find a lot of opportunity in times of adversity because it really, really forces you to get smart. And the people that don't persevere through times of adversity, those are the failures. And what's so great about being an investor in a down market is that if you can get through it, you're going to come out the other side with a lot less competition than other people, because a lot of the novice people that aren't willing to put in the work or weren't smart enough to get through this recession won't be there on the other end. And so you're going to end up, prevailing in a market that's much easier to operate in. A lot less competition, as people say, when there's a million deals to do, there's no capital. When there's tons of capital, there's no deals. And so you have to really find that balance of, making sure that you're forcing yourself to be disciplined and finding opportunities in down markets. One way that I've really persevered through a down market is having the time to step back and really analyze, what did we do really well in the last cycle and what would I have changed? And I think doing any business opportunity, someone can look at where they did the best and build from that and cut out any distractions. When you're making a lot of money and there's a lot of room in the budget, you end up spending money on things that aren't needed. You end up pursuing things or getting distracted because there's so many opportunities around. But when you are forced to make money and cover payroll, you have to do what works. And I found that now leaning in on what has always worked and really focusing on making that more powerful and expanding that platform, like our condo platform, has made us 10 times more successful than trying to pursue 3 or 4 different things like I did in the past when it was just so easy to raise institutional capital. So another thing is you cannot be stuck in one mindset and be unwilling to pivot. When the market changes or when, something happens in your life that is unexpected, you have to be able to get out of your own way and ruin the plan enough to be willing to change the plan and change how you approach something. Another thing that I learned is not to lose confidence in yourself. When the market started to change, I remember a lot of my employees getting very uncertain, and I lost some members of my team. At the time, it was super disheartening because people, I had built a very big team. I think I had 18 at the highest. And, you really think that these people are on your team. We're all building this great thing together and things are so exciting. And then the music stops and people leave. And it's actually, I found a really good point to clean house, and the people that aren't going to be with you through the hard times are not the people you want in your life anyways. So that's another great aspect of going through a tough time is you really find out who your true team members are, and the ones that stick with you through those will be rewarded when the market changes or when the situation changes and turns around. So it's a really great way to gauge loyalty on your team or just with anyone around you. If you're going through a hard time, who are the people that are really going to be with you in the end and are going to believe in you? And if you stay confident in yourself and you stick true to your goal and your whatever your investment thesis is or whatever your venture is, then you will want those people on the other end, and they will become, 10 times more successful than when there was a crowded team with a bunch of people. So that's a huge benefit to having a down market. As I said, in times of adversity or in times of turbulence, you're forced to do a lot more research because everything isn't coming easy. So you have to step back and really, really find where the true opportunities are. And a lot of groups aren't willing to do that or put in the work. Maybe they just wait until their business model will work again, or they close up shop, or they lay off tons of people. I've seen this time and time again in my industry. It was very scary for me when the capital market changed in 2022. I was built on a development fee model, and all of a sudden my fees stopped. I wrapped up my projects and I didn't have new projects starting. So I had to really figure out ways to find deals, sell them, asset manage, figure out different ways to cash flow to make sure I could still continue to pay my team. Now, one thing I did very first off the bat was I went through my operating budget and I realized, when we were making huge amounts of money every month, it was really easy to just spend money. And my accounting team was very complacent about spending money. I personally went through my own budget and found a lot of places where we were wasting money, thousands and thousands of dollars a month on IT or, Zoom accounts that were never being used. Or I think we were paying like $900 a month for a water filter for 15 people. It was just nuts. And that's an example of how in rosy times, people get really complacent and lazy. And when it's time to buckle down and you are faced with adversity, it really forces you to put in the work and figure out, how to make your bottom line, no matter what, stay above board. So I probably started saving over $20,000 a month that I will always make sure I learn this lesson that I have to control every single expense at my company. But that was something that, wouldn't have come out when it was just so, it was so easy to make money and people were just spending it. And that's something that really sticks with me today, and that is really important, that you control costs with whatever you're doing, whether it's your household or your venture, because when times are tough, you realize how much money can be wasted, but no one should ever waste money, even in a really good market. So that's something that I got out of this last thing, and I'm able to operate my company a lot better because I'm not worried about just covering overhead. I can pick and choose the deals that I do now, and they're the right deals because I'm kind of off that hamster wheel of getting, having to just support overhead. And that wouldn't have happened if the market hadn't changed and I wasn't forced to really make sure I only had the right team members and I was only doing the right deals. So if you found this helpful, please make sure you check out my next video by clicking here.